What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Life in Law with Mike and Bill. Episode 9, Michael.
He's Bill.
Who are you?
You're supposed to say.
I don't like doing the I'm Bill, he's Mike. People know.
But that's why I figured we change it up. That's why I said he's Bill. You're supposed to say he's Mike, but you can't take a cue.
Yeah, I can't take a cue. You don't take a cue. Anyway, episode 9. Can't believe I've done 9 episodes with this guy sitting to my right. But we have a really good show planned today. We have a great guest today.
Oi.
Yeah, Oi Kam. She is a Hawaiian massage therapist, but
Where do
really
you hear how she says Hawaii? Hawaii. I can't even say it the way she says it.
Yeah, so this will be a really interesting. She's a massage therapist, but she's also specializes not only in restorative massage and bodywork, but she's also a licensed Pilates instructor, a registered yoga teacher, and she focuses her practice on dealing with people who suffer with the daily activities of sitting at a desk all day. Stay tuned. She's going to give us some tips there. We're also going to talk about a recent decision in the city of Philadelphia involving a former Philadelphia fire chief who was denied workers' compensation benefits after being diagnosed with cancer. And we're going to talk about that. That case was recently resolved. So we'll talk to Mike about that. And then, like we end every show, we're going to get into our Mike Speaks rant of the day. But before we introduce our guest, how was your weekend, Mike? It
was delightful.
Was it? Did you do anything good?
I watched a lot of hockey.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Who'd you watch, Mike?
Wait, before I get into that, did the Flyers win last night?
The Flyers were horrendous this year.
Oh.
They were absolutely horrible. It was one of the worst.
Surprised that there's a person in Philadelphia who openly admits that. If
I'm not mistaken, I think it's the first time that they have not made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons since like 93, 94.
It's outrageous.
If I'm not mistaken. Here's the problem. Now you got me on my rant.
All right, go ahead, go.
Now you got me on my rant, and then we'll get into our show. The problem with the Philadelphia Flyers is they used to have an unbelievable owner in Ed Snyder. But now the team, with Ed Snyder's passing, it's still owned by Comcast Spectacor, but Ed Snyder's not there pushing this team to the way it used to be. It is owned by a company and a corporation. It is just a different feel. They should sell the damn team. I'm done. Show over.
You're completely wrong. Completely.
You're a Rangers fan. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. It was Ed Snyder that was partially responsible for this downfall that has occurred.
I will agree.
His habit of hiring ex-Flyers for everything.
Well, they're a community. They try to take care of their own. I think the problem is that Ed Snyder and the organization, I think, was trying to do things to quickly win a Stanley Cup before Ed Snyder passed away.
Yeah, because they're all living in 1974.
Well, they won in 1975 too.
Yeah, I understand that.
But
74 was the first one.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I've been a lifelong Flyers fan. I was born in the 80s. So I've never seen a Stanley Cup championship, ever. And I was obsessed.
Likely never will.
All right, here we go. But let's move on before me and Mike battle here. We'd be remiss. We don't want to talk too much about it, but obviously our hearts and prayers go out to all the victims of the horrible, horrible shooting that occurred in Buffalo over the weekend. Just a very, very sick world we live in, but our hearts, our prayers are with the families of the victims and all involved. But we don't want to spend too much time on that. So we're going to move on from there. Let's talk about some good news that came out of this weekend. A 19-year-old Texan becomes the youngest African-American to ever graduate law school in the United States. Only 19 years old. Her name is Haley Schultz. She went to Southern Methodist University Law School. Listen to this, Lance. She graduated high school at the age of 13.
Wow.
Graduates college at the age of 16, and then graduates law school at the age of 19. And she is an impressive young lady. So her mother is an ER doctor, and she thought for the longest time she wanted to be an ER doctor. But this is what I loved. She says at the end here, I'm reading an article, but she says, eating no's for breakfast, not letting people tell me what I can and can't do. They don't know me. I know me. I just hope that a story like mine inspires other people to really, really take charge.
I mean, if she wants to change her mind, she could easily graduate from medical school the next couple of years.
Yeah, and probably still be graduating prior to most people graduate medical school.
Well, wait a minute. What about Doogie Howser? He graduated medical school.
True. He was a good doctor. He was a really good doctor. But to put this into perspective for people, most law school graduates, if they go right from college to law school and do law school in the 3-year full-time program, I mean, at best, you're what, 25?
24?
Yeah,
24, 25?
Yeah, 25, I think. I think I was 26 when I graduated law school. So to do it 7 years earlier, pretty...
Well, you were on the 8-year program, weren't you?
No, I was not. Oh. I was on the regular program. So I went to Gettysburg College for undergrad. Then I worked at the Philadelphia Register of Wills for a year at City Hall.
Took a year to find yourself?
Just took a year so I could work and round myself.
Round?
Yeah, I wanted to be able to make sure that I knew a lot about the world before I went to law school.
You thought you'd find that in the Philadelphia Prothonotari's office?
I will tell you
why. The Register of Wills?
I'll tell you why. I mean, I was slightly kidding, but working at the Philadelphia Register of Wills was one of the best experiences for rounding yourself, because you deal with the death of every single person within the city of Philadelphia. They have to have their will or their estate probated. So you're dealing with people from every single area of the city of Philadelphia, all different types of, and this was sad. I mean, deaths. You have the people who were older, you have the tragedies, and that was my kind of first exposure to the personal injury world, which I do now, because I did have some individuals who unfortunately died tragically from car accidents or wrongful death, medical malpractice suits. And I was involved in raising their estates with the lawyers so that then they can pursue a claim. So it wasn't
under the tutelage of the late, great Ron Donatucci?
Ron Donatucci was a great man.
He was a great man.
And he was the Register of Wills. He did a lot for not only the Register of Wills, but the entire city of Philadelphia.
Yes, he did.
And it was just a great place to work. I met a lot of good people. I made a lot of good friends that I'm still friends with. So yeah, even though we were kidding, it really was a great experience. But let's move on. Let's get our guest on. So like I said earlier, Ms. Oi Kam, and she's going to teach us all. She's going to teach us all about how we can improve our daily living. Oi Kam, welcome to the show.
Aloha, welcome to the show.
Yeah. So
aloha.
Yes, aloha. So for our listeners, the reason that Oi Kam said aloha is she is from Hawaii.
There's a Hawaiian theme. Here we go.
Born and raised, and she's a New Jersey state licensed massage therapist, but is also educated in individual and group fitness instruction, exercise therapy, Pilates, and is a registered yoga teacher. But the reason we wanted to have Oi on the show is because, Oi, if I'm correct, you work with a lot of professionals who sit at desks all day and start to develop all the stresses that come along with that. Is that right?
That's absolutely right.
So before we start giving our listeners...
Some of this?
I don't know, Mike. We didn't say she was a miracle worker.
That was cool.
But before we get into some tips for our listeners on how they can improve their daily activity and daily life, give us a little bit about your background. So you were born and raised in Hawaii?
Yes, and I played sports when I was younger. I was a canoe paddler, and I ran track, and I played volleyball. I grew up with 3 sisters and a brother. I came up with a Buddhist Catholic household, and my father was Hawaii Army National Guard, and my mom and my dad were my first mentors in wellness.
Very cool. And now when I say Hawaii, there's several islands.
Yes.
Right?
Several? There's more than several.
How many islands are there in Hawaii, Mike?
Tell them, Oi.
Well,
Why don't you tell us, Mike? Let's see. You're going to correct me.
Listen, I don't want to step on Oi's toes here. She's the Hawaiian
Well,
expert.
there's 8 islands that they recognize, and there are so many more.
So many
more islands than that.
Write that down. So many.
And where were you from, Oi?
I'm from Oahu. I was born in Honolulu, and my family is from Kauai, and they moved from all over the South Pacific, Asia, and Europe to Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, and now they live in Kona, and they live on Oahu and Kauai.
Kona, isn't that a really good cup of coffee as well? Isn't there a Kona
Oh my
blend?
gosh,
Excellent coffee.
best coffee ever.
In the world.
In the
Very,
world.
very good coffee.
Better than Colombian.
Very good coffee.
It is so smooth.
Now, Hawaiian has good coffee,
Yes.
but what Mike is not a fan of is Hawaiian pizza, I understand.
There's no such thing as Hawaiian pizza. What you're talking about is people who put pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, is that a real Hawaiian thing, Oi, or did they just steal that? Is that actually done in Hawaii?
No, it was done for people visiting, for the visitors. They wanted pineapple on this, so they were like, let's put pineapple on it. And now it's like an island favorite.
I am not a fan of pineapple on my
I love a nice pineapple.
but not on my pizza.
Not on pizza, no.
But we're not here to talk about pizza or food. But, the COVID-19 pandemic forced a lot of us to take a step back and refocus on what we were doing every day. And that's the same for you, Oi, right? I mean, once 2020 hit, I'm reading your biography here, and you said that you took a step back, you started to retool your practice, and you started to deal with more online programs for home and office workers to share a unique fusion fitness style. And the program shares with their audience the ability to do self-care at their desks, in their homes, and even on the road. So tell us a little bit about that program, and then maybe we can give some tips to our listeners on how they can improve their daily life.
So when we become more inactive, we're like dumbing down the operational movements and the whole process that the body functions on a daily basis. So our breathing changes, our functional strength changes, and our posture changes. So with the help of my own Zoom classes, I was able to work with local companies who helped me springboard into a nationwide program with other companies throughout the U.S. And what we did was we focused on posture at the desk. And because when we start to change our posture, we change. Okay, guys.
we all just instantly sat up straight.
Yes. And so when you do that, everything will start operating at more optimum levels. When we compress the spine, the nerves come out of the spine and go out to every bone, muscle, tissue, cell. It actually lessens the way that it operates, so it starts to become sluggish and things start to pile on and flow starts to stop, and Qigong, the Qi starts to get stagnant. It doesn't flow. And what I was able to do was use different things at home for people to get well. So I brought in some samples here so you can have one. Here you go. And then these are just these are just, your pool noodles. But for finger strength, you can just go, we were going like this with our fingers, just squeezing it in, right? And then, you can put it in here and pull, put it in and pull. So a little traction for the fingers. You get a little bit of adjustment there. Fingers would like to be pulled a little.
And what's the benefit to this? Oi, what does this do for?
So all of this creates more flow. There's more openings, right? Circulation of nerve and also blood flow. And then doing this, just going back and forth like you're rolling pizza dough. So you get ready to make your pineapple pizza.
Yeah, so for those listening along and not watching on YouTube, all we have is a little small piece of a pool noodle that we're rubbing between our hands. And what would this help with? How would this help us? Would this help us not get fatigued at the office?
Right. It helps to stimulate your brain. You're doing your mind-hand coordination, right? You're connecting, right? You're connecting. And you can look at this, and then you can take it and roll it out on your arms. Because when you work on computers, your hands get, their forearm gets really fixated. And so you can't really get the same flow in your hands. So, and then when the hands get jammed up, it can actually wick up or chain up to your neck and jaw.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's what Michael's saying too.
Yes,
So,
but it feels good, right? And you're taking a moment, and you can take this anywhere and do it anywhere on your body. So you're taking the whole concept of the foam roller, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Watch what you're doing down there.
It's on my quad, all right?
Jeez.
It's my quad. My legs are very, very sore. I just got back from Nashville. We did a lot of walking.
Yeah.
My legs are sore.
And so what you can do, you can take the roller and roll it on the side of your leg. And it's not for the vastus lateralis. It's for the deeper muscle under that band.
Interesting. Yeah, I've used the foam roller before in the
Right.
gym, the hard foam rollers. So this I could see. And you're doing this just while you're sitting at your desk?
Right. And it helps, and then you can put this behind your back and you can just roll a little. Look, I'm going back and forth on the roller on my spine, and it's soft enough that it's not putting pressure on the spinous process, which is right on the spine. And then you can go, if you're up against the wall, you could stand up and roll a little bit like that.
What about the table? Did you bring your table?
Well, you want for massages? This is stuff you could do at your desk.
Yeah, but I'm sure Oi has a portable
I have a portable table.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes away.
Well,
You
so
didn't bring it today?
No, but you can come to mine 5 minutes away.
So
All right.
let me ask you. So a lot of people complain that when they're sitting at their desk all day, in addition to physically feeling tired, they actually their eyes get dried out. Their eyes get tired. They're looking at a computer screen.
right.
Is there anything they can do for that?
Absolutely. So everyone, push your chair back, sit forward on your chair, bring your hands together, and just clap your hands and rub your hands together.
Like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah. Awesome. Mr. Miyagi. Oh. Okay. And then you take the heels of your palm, place it on your cheekbones, cover your eyes, and open your eyes and cover all of the light. So if you see any light coming in, kind of cup your hands so all the darkness is there. When you open your eyes into darkness, it helps to rest the eyes. And then you can do your eye movement, like you can inhale and take your eyes to the right, take it to the left, do circles, and then take it in the other direction. Your eyes are open the whole time. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale, and then remove your hands from your eyes and notice how they feel wet and moist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So what your eyes are open in darkness, it actually helps them rest. Correct. And that's better than just shutting your eyes.
Correct. And the thing is, when you go to bed at night, that's another thing for sleep hygiene, but that's a whole nother thing. But when you go to bed at night, you don't want a lot of lights in there. You want the room cool and dark because that is going to encourage more healthy sleep patterns, right? Sleep hygiene.
Right.
Now, we could talk to you all day. There's one area again I want to touch because I saw you put this in. I think this was on your website, but you mentioned that there's a way to use your cell phone that can actually help your posture. Is that right?
Your cell phone. Did I say that?
Yes. It says, is there a certain way for me to use my cell phone to help my posture on a regular basis?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I didn't make this up. You see, I did my homework.
Yeah, she said.
Okay.
I did my homework.
Anyway, so one of the things you've heard come around, it's like out there, tech neck, right? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is this. Right? So when you put your head down like this, you're
and you're staring down at your phone.
Right.
So she's got her phone down like all of us do, walking around either scrolling the internet or trying to text message, and you're looking straight down.
Right. And so what I encourage my clients and students to do is take their hand under their elbow and bring the phone up. So you're looking at it like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot. And it's just a simple change.
Right.
Same thing, if I'm not mistaken, I was told once that your computer screen, you should also make sure is elevated high enough when you're sitting at your desk.
Correct.
That you're not staring down at it. You should be looking upwards almost. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I was, during COVID, I had a great opportunity to go to different programs for myself as an instructor. And so now I'm with the National Federation of Coaching for breath work. And breathing at your desk is quintessential. I mean, it's so important down to a cellular level. It allows your whole body to, take in a nice deep breath and then exhale, bring it back. So you let go, you just expanding because everything is connected to the spine. And as you breathe in, the diaphragm pulls down, the lungs expand. This helps with posture. It's huge.
And what I like to say is breath is our constant companion, Oi. I'm kidding. I stole that. I also stole that from Oi's information.
I was going to say, there's no way you came up with that.
No, that makes
You're
a
not
lot
that
of
deep.
That makes a lot of sense, though. It makes a lot of sense. Well, like I said, we could probably keep you here all day. If our listeners are interested in finding you to either get a massage or to take part in any of these classes that you offer, improving your daily life, your posture, and your work life, where can they find you?
They can find me at 1892 Green Tree Road in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's down the street from...
It's down the street from one of the best law firms in the state of New Jersey.
One of the finest, yes.
One of the finest.
Grungo, Colorado at 1926 Green Tree. What a coincidence.
And I just wanted to add that when you're sitting at your desk, this is a really good way to open up the rib cage by stretching, right? Can I show you something?
Sure.
Okay. So you sit forward, you press your hands down, you take your hands overhead, right? And then press your hands to the sky and then wiggle yourself tall out of your seat because a lot of times you get compressed, right? So you inhale, press up. And as you exhale, you topple over to the right.
I think I went left.
That's okay. Inhale, come back up to center. You prepare your body. And then as you exhale, you topple over to the other side, leaning over. And then come back to center. One more stretch is cat cow. Are you familiar with cat cow?
A little bit of you. That's a yoga move, right?
Correct, yeah. And they use it in physical therapy too. So you put your hands on your thighs and you take your rib cage and bring it up and forward. Take your throat and face up. And then as you exhale, you round your low back, draw your abdominals back, your rib cage, your throat, your head back. Chin to chest, and then inhale, come up and tall. And exhale, 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 release and go back. The last one I want to leave you with is a circle. So rotation, so you go forward. Put your hands on your knees and you circle around and circle around. So it's really good to open the space between the spinal bones before you do other movements.
This is the most exercise Mike's done in years.
So my goal is to offer assistance, support, or kokua, as we say in Hawaii, like offering help to aid people to a healthy lifestyle and also to increase their own level of consciousness.
You feel?
I need a nap.
Do you feel relaxed? Well, no, you should feel rejuvenated.
I feel great.
You should feel rejuvenated. You just stretched out your spine. You just did your breathing.
Very relaxing.
You rested your eyes.
I can tell you if, because I've been to her studio, it is the most relaxing experience. I can't explain. Like you literally, it feels.
Yeah, and Mike needs to relax. You know what? I think what we need to do is we'll all chip in and we'll get Mike over
We'll
there.
have no more Mike Speaks.
Yeah, we won't have any Mike Speaks.
I don't know what to do.
We won't have any more Mike Speaks. Well, Oi, thank you so much for joining us. Lance, our producer, has had the benefit, like he said, of utilizing your services in the past. Thank you very much. And one last question for you. So underneath your name, Oi Kam, and it has your certifications behind it, what does mahalo nu loa mean? Did I say that right?
Mahalo nui loa means thank you very much.
You didn't know that?
I did not. You knew that,
I
Mike?
did know that, yes.
You don't even know if aloha means a hello or goodbye, Mike.
It means both.
Oh.
It means both.
So how do you differentiate?
Depends on whether you're coming or going.
Well, Oi, thank you.
hard.
Thank you very much. And again, to find Oi, she is at 1892 Green Tree Road in Cherry Hill. And phone number, Oi?
609-440-9542. And you can also reach me via email kumuhonu@gmail.com or oikam@aol.com.
Oi, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Thanks for joining the show. It was a pleasure.
Hey, that's my line. I'll be in touch.
See, I'm stealing all the lines.
I know. What's up with
That
that?
was paper too.
Gee, no, I didn't. That's not even there.
You
But
get the idea though. She's a masseuse. She'll be in touch.
yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right.
Thank you, Oi. Wow. So we took a little bit of a break, and Oi, before we went back on the air here, did a little bit of stretching and massage of Mike.
Oh man.
How you feel, dude?
I need a nap. I'm just like, I feel like I want to take a nap.
See, now-
I feel so loose and relaxed and like, wow.
You look great, man.
Looks loose.
You look great. And she also stretched me out a little bit, and then she showed us some other exercises, but very interesting.
By the way, when she stretched you out, did you know that you have a hole under your arm?
Do I?
Shirt? There's a hole in your shirt.
This is a new shirt.
That's a hole. Yep. Rip back a little more. That right there. You got it.
Oh,
See that?
Look at that. This is a brand new t-shirt. You know what that is, Mike?
That's poor craftsmanship.
Nah, my muscles are too big.
I'll go with the weak thread.
That's what just happened. No, but all seriousness, this was an interesting topic with Oi, and I'd like to learn more because a majority of us, some of us do a lot of physical labor, and you could probably still benefit from this. But for those of you like us who sit at a desk a lot, I mean, I have an iWatch, and it's constantly telling me time to stand, time to stand, because I'm sitting for too long. Is you can learn some little exercises.
Is it an iWatch or an Apple Watch? What do they call it?
I think it's an iWatch.
I don't think it's an iWatch.
I don't know.
You may be right. It may just be the Apple Watch. I could be incorrect.
Yeah.
Either way, so that was pretty good stuff. She does massage therapy. She does some different things. But, yeah, I don't know. That was pretty good.
That was really good. We're gonna have to visit her. She's right up the block.
Yeah, she is right up the street. And
Yep.
so that was good stuff. But like I said, this is life and law. So
And
we
law.
talked a little bit of life. Now we want to talk a little bit of law.
Yep.
So Mike is a workers' comp attorney, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. So City of Philadelphia, a settlement was reached in the Philadelphia fire chief's years-long fight to prove that his cancer was caused by his job. So Mike, let me give a little bit of facts here, and then I'm going to ask you some things about it.
Okay.
So it says Philadelphia Fire Chief John Narkin, who also did a stint in the Coast Guard and then worked as a conductor for Conrail. He was doing this for 28 years. In 2017, his wife noticed a small lump on his back. He was going to ignore it, but then he goes and gets it checked out, and he gets diagnosed with myoepithelial carcinoma, which was an extremely rare form of cancer. And it was described as, for patients, like a game of whack-a-mole, because they start to treat one tumor and then another one pops up. And they treat that one and then another one pops up. And he was at stage 4, unfortunately. He was sure that this cancer was caused from his job as a firefighter. And he then files for workers' compensation benefits, and he gets denied. Mm-hmm. And he was surprised, Mike, because there's a state law in Pennsylvania that's known as
a rebuttable presumption.
Yeah, it's known as the cancer presumption law. So why don't you explain what that means, Mike?
Well, there are certain jobs or occupations, firefighting being one of them, that if a firefighter or anyone employed in that line of work develops cancer, there's a presumption that it was caused by the work or something at work, and therefore, benefits should be provided. But it is a rebuttable presumption.
And what does that mean?
Which means that the employer, in this case the city, has the right to dispute it. So it's initially presumed that the cancer came from the job, but the employer, the city, has a right to present evidence to dispute that it did in fact come from the job. And in this case, I can see why they may have done that for a couple of reasons. He had prior work in the Coast Guard and Conrail, and those, I think, there's certain activities in those jobs that may have exposed him to certain carcinogenics. And I think it's reasonable of them to take that position, although it's kind of sad that they did. I mean, given the guy gave 28 years of his life to the city, it would have been a lot more humane to agree with the presumption and do with it. He fought this for a simple reason, according to the article, that he knew that he's going to die. He's going to die sooner than he should.
Yeah. He's
concerned about his wife and his family, because if his death is deemed to be work related, then his wife is entitled to lifetime health benefits.
And if it's deemed not work related, the health insurance goes away when he passes.
Health insurance goes away when he does.
Yeah.
So that's what he was primarily fighting for.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because the human side of me is saying, yeah, why doesn't the city of Philadelphia just accept it? He got cancer, just accepted it so you could help him and his family. The problem though with that is that unfortunately, cancer is a pretty common thing these days. And if every single firefighter who got diagnosed with cancer, they just accepted it could be a problem. So, and I think they went on.
What got me too is he was saying, or the article was saying, that when the firefighters go into a fire, they have self-contained breathing apparatus, almost like a scuba tank. Scuba, SCUBA. You know what that means, right, Sid?
Situation.
Ah, come on. Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. In this case, of course, it's not underwater. It's just a self-contained breathing apparatus. Along with that device, there's a plate that attaches to the low back that I believe holds that pack in place. His cancer developed right at the site of that plate. The article said that his cancer was caused by absorption through the skin. And I'm thinking, like, I don't get that. I mean, you would think maybe from the smoke or the ash or something that happened in the fire.
But this is the actual
absorption through the skin, through the clothes, through the plate, and that's where his cancer was first found, in his low back. I'd love to see a more detailed medical explanation of that, but I guess when it was all brought to light, everyone was satisfied that that's what caused it, and that's where it was. Yeah,
so that thankfully they've reached a settlement. His wife will be able to get health insurance for the rest of her life, even after he passes. But yeah, it's a tough thing because, I just said, they can't just accept it for every firefighter. But then you think about it and it says these firefighters risk their lives every single day. And, but I like the law. I like the fact that it becomes a presumption that it was caused. And now it puts the burden on the city or the state or the local municipality to have to defend.
To disprove it.
Yeah, to disprove it. Because normally, as lawyers, when we have an injury case, whether it's a workers' comp claim or a car accident, even a medical malpractice claim, the burden's always on us to try to prove that injury. That injury was caused on the job, or that injury was caused by this accident or by this malpractice. And that's a tough burden. You have to satisfy the burden of proof.
Yeah, we've seen something very similar to that recently here in New Jersey. If you recall, last year, the governor passed or proposed, and the Senate passed a law for essential workers who developed COVID.
Yes.
There's a rebuttable presumption that it was contracted on the job.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the employer, the hospital, the medical facility, or wherever it was, to disprove that. So a little bit of a break for the working man. But
question for you on the essential worker definition. Now, you mentioned just now the hospital workers and all that. Did the supermarket cashiers, did they get considered essential workers as well?
The definition was very, very broad.
Probably intentionally.
It wasn't just healthcare workers. It included people that their job is in service and they come in contact with the public, like a supermarket cashier, a pharmacist. It was very, very broad, and we've seen a few cases of it. We have a few in the office right now.
Yeah, and this is what I say this almost every single week, but it's the truth. Whenever you have a question of whether you got injured on the job, whether you contracted a disease or a virus like COVID-19 on the job, call an attorney. Know your rights, figure out what you are entitled to, because unfortunately, we have seen it firsthand here. Although you may love your employer, they don't always do the right thing. And it's not necessarily your employer. A lot of employers have workers' compensation insurance, and the insurance company handles the claims. And we know, never do the right thing. I shouldn't say never. You want to talk with, what's the word?
No, you don't want to be extreme.
Extremes. Right. Mike says extremes.
Yeah, I'm curious because I'm developing a case of where I'm ranting about everything anymore. Do I have a case?
Yeah, because Mike's rubbing off on you.
That's from exposure to me?
Yeah, Mike's rubbing off on you. But yeah, it's just important to know your rights because you never know. And we've talked about this in the state of New Jersey with the workers' compensation claim. In addition to getting your lost wages paid for while you're out of work, you're also entitled to getting your medical treatment paid for. You also may be entitled to a permanency award of some sort. So there's just all these nuances in every single state and in every single case. It makes a lot of sense to talk to a lawyer. And in most instances, and I know here at Grungo Colarulo, We don't charge you to talk to you. You have questions. You want to know whether you have a case. We are free consultations. We do not charge until we've hopefully made a recovery for you and it comes out of a settlement. So it doesn't cost you anything to know your rights, to make sure you're protecting you and your family. So, thank you, Michael. Some people forget that in addition to being a food reviewer and a ranter, that you're a pretty good lawyer.
Why, thank you.
People forget.
Well, not if you keep reminding them.
And they also forget that you are a model. Look at that. Look at that face.
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I want to switch gears now out of the law. We talked a little life, a little law, and now we go into our Mike Speaks rant. And we were going to go in one direction with the Mike Speaks rant, and then our guest
guest showed up
and said that she was from Hawaii, and Mike lost his mind on Hawaiian pizza. Mike, what is Hawaiian pizza?
There is no such thing as Hawaiian pizza. What she was talking about was this, I can't explain the interest or the desire to put pineapple on a pizza. It is
Wait, what else goes on? It's pineapple and what else?
Ham.
Ham. Yeah. Ham and pineapple on a pizza, outrageous, unacceptable. Do not do it. Do not do it.
Oi sent me a note that it originated in Ontario, Canada.
So it is
of all
not.
places.
There you go.
It is not Hawaiian. So she wanted to make that clear, number one. But let me ask you, Mike, I hate that I've agreed with Mike in the last 2 episodes. But I agree with you.
You're learning.
Pineapple and ham on a pizza is a violation.
It's not terrible, but it's not my first choice.
Okay, Lance. It's
edible.
terrible.
It is it's unacceptable.
It is terrible.
It's blasphemy.
All right, let me ask you, Mike.
Blasphemy.
So I personally prefer plain. That's the way I would go. But if I wasn't going plain, what's the next best option? What do you like?
It depends on whether you want to go red or white. Okay.
I'm a big red fan.
Okay.
With my
I
pizza.
happen to be a huge fan of the white.
Interesting.
With a little mushroom and a little spinach.
It's good stuff.
Particularly from Di Lorenzo's.
Oh, Di Lorenzo's.
Di Lorenzo's in Robbinsville.
I'd like to go on record here to say, now, anyone who follows Barstool Sports and knows Dave Portnoy does his food reviews, or his pizza reviews, he put Di Lorenzo's as one of the top. But long before Portnoy, who is the self-declared king of pizza, said anything
Admittedly
about
so.
Di Lorenzo's.
Portnoy's the man.
He is the man. I like him too.
Yep.
But I like his pizza stuff. But Mike had been talking about Di Lorenzo's for a lot longer than Portnoy. How long you been going there?
Long time. Many years. I can't count.
Yeah, you and Rose actually take trip up there. That's like an hour away.
That's not that far.
How far is it?
35, 40 minutes from my house.
And you drive just for the pizza. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Now, not as far, completely different style than Di Lorenzo's.
Don't do it.
Is Coal Fire.
Who?
Coal Fire Pizza. Yesterday I was at Bricko.
Is that
in Westmont.
Coal Fire? What is that? Is that a franchise?
No, Coal Fire is a style of pizza. The oven is actually heated using coals. Mm-hmm. It is a coal. You've heard of a brick oven pizza?
Did you really ask me if I've heard of brick oven pizza?
I'll tell you, this guy is
Jesus
angry.
Christmas.
Oi's techniques lasted about 8 minutes.
Yeah, he's gonna need
All that relaxation out the door.
Wow. Well, on that note, that was episode 9. That was episode 9.
I'll be banned from episode 10.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Like I said, my contract's only for one more episode, so we'll
God
see.
almighty.
We will see how it
You
goes.
ever heard of brick oven pizza?
We're going to get out of here now.
Jesus.
So, Lance, as always, thanks for producing. Mike, thanks for the energy today. And everybody, thanks for listening. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Sid.
Thank you.